Alright, now to go over the second part, the second binder, which is the Basic Stormwater Management Course binder that I have. This video will go over how I prepared and what I tabbed and what I highlighted in this binder. I had to change video recording. I'm no longer using my cell phone. I am now using a camera built into a computer. It is my personal computer. I feel like the quality is going to be slightly less, so for that I apologize, but I killed my cell phone battery and had to switch over to something else. So, stormwater course. It is also in the attachment that Allison provided. It says Stormwater Basic Binder version 2.0 or higher. I have version 2.2, so that's 2.0 or higher, and so you want to check that. It's right here. When you look at the very bottom, it tells you what version you have. So I can't remember if it was the basic course or the inspector course. Somewhere my page numbers got a little bit different than what was provided in this right here that they sent us. So it starts out with module number 1, the acronyms. So module number 1 here, I have a tab for acronyms. I didn't go through and sorry, there's the acronyms. I didn't go through and make sure I knew all the acronyms. A lot of them I already knew, most of them probably not. I just tabbed it. If I needed to know an acronym, I knew right where to find it. The next tab I had in Module 1, I put a tab on page number 10. There's my tab. So this goes over the training class requirements. This is the same as this is just repetitive of what was in the regulations, chapter 850. In fact, at the top of page 9, it even tells you that this is 9VAC 25-850. So it's just going over it, kind of actually putting it in a more understandable format. So when you have a test question, which I think I only had one test question regarding what is required to get your certification, how much training time, that sort of thing, how quickly you have to take the test after you pass the course, those sort of things. If you get any of those questions, you can either come here to page 10 of Module 1, or you can go to your regulation. It's repetitive, same information contained in both. In fact, most of this basic course just is repetitive of what went in the regulations. To be honest with you, I used both because when I was taking the test and I came to an answer, a question that I needed to look up the answer, some of them I knew exactly where it was in this book. Some of them I knew where it was in the regulation book. So moving right along, Module 2, Stormwater Concepts and Environmental Impacts. I tabbed that. That's on, I guess, yeah, that's on page 1 of Module 2. Another thing, just to show you what I did, is I used some color coding. So everything in Module 1, I had green. Just pick a color. Everything in Module 2, pink, so a different color. There's Module 3. There's Module 4, and on. So that way, each material module was separated by a different color. Just something I did, something I might recommend you do, and how you prepare. So then on page 3, it talks about stormwater runoff. So the average annual rainfall across Virginia. I highlighted that. So 42 to 48 inches per year. Something for you to know where it's at. Maybe remember some of this stuff. On the next page, the hydrologic cycle. I do remember a couple questions regarding this cycle. Might be something you want to read. And I went ahead and tabbed most of these, to be honest. Even though in the attachment They were not underlined. I went ahead and tabbed them and kind of went above and beyond in that way. So then on page 7 of Module 2 is the urban water cycle. I highlighted some of that. I went ahead and tabbed it too. Then on page 8 is the influences on stormwater quantity and quality. I remember questions on that. So you'll want to review some of that. Then you get to skip for a little while. Well, let's see. It's on page 10, I'm sorry. On page 10, there's the impervious surfaces. That's what I did on page 10. Now you get to skip all the way out to page 60. To be honest with you, I did not personally have any questions on the pollutants and their effects. But right here it is. You very well may have. So all I did was tab this so that I knew where it was. So if I had a question about a certain pollutant and what it did, right there, tab, summary of pollutants and their effects. Economic benefits of stormwater management. That's on page 77. It's just another table, table 2.6. All I did was tab it. I don't remember there being any questions regarding that, but there it is if you need to know. So that pretty much covers Module 2. And moving along to Module 3, and there again, I'm moving quickly. Feel free to pause this video at any point in time. Highlight while it's paused. Put your tabs in while it's paused, and then push play, because I'm moving quickly. So this is going over, Module 3 goes over the Clean Water Act. This is repetitive of the actual act that we went through at the very beginning of the first binder. So you can either look up stuff in that act, or you can look it up here in Module 3. So, and I like the way it's broken down in the actual course, the Module 3, better. So the first part, I didn't have anything highlighted, but I tabbed it. Clean Water Act starts here. So then on the VSMA highlights, which is on page 7. Let's go to 7. Here's the highlights. Basically, I think I read this entire page. Because I just highlighted pretty much the whole page. But very important is this part right here that tells you VSMP applies to LDAs of greater than 1 acre. Greater than or equal to 1 acre, or greater than or equal to 2,500 square feet in a Chesapeake Bay preservation area. Important things to know. There was at least 1 or 2 questions on that, which I think I also covered that in the regulation. Then, let's see, on page 12, I'm not going to skip to page 12 yet. I'm going to stay over here on page 11, because there's some things that I personally highlighted here on page 11, which talks more about 48 hours, 24-hour storms, those sort of things. Just because I saw numbers, I figured important. Usually it is. I don't remember any questions from that, but then on page 12, they have from the attachment the annual standards and specs. That's what I have. I don't remember any questions from that. There very well may have been. Then, back to this legal action. We talked a lot about that when we were going over our laws and regulations. You can look at the legal actions and stuff there, but there's a very nice chart here as well. This is on page 21 of Module 3. I tabbed it. I definitely referred to this tab as I was going to the test. You want to pay attention to some of this language, the willfully or negligently. Pay attention to that. Knowingly. Knowingly makes false statements. Pay attention to that language of the behavior and what that equates to, whether it's a misdemeanor or felony, a fine, how much jail time, that sort of stuff. I definitely went through all these knowledge checks. The answers are in the back. Go through all the knowledge checks and make sure you know them as well. They're just as good as the practice test. That covers Module 3. So moving along to Module 4, which is your VSMP regulations. There again, this is just repeating the actual regulations and going over it. So I tabbed it right here, Module 4, VSMP regulations. Just like we tabbed in the actual regulation, over on page 4 is grandfathering. I tabbed grandfathering. You'll want to know this. This again talks about dates. July 1st, 2014. Have you started construction by this time? Have you obtained permits? Are what is required to be grandfathered? Backing up to page 6, I didn't have anything highlighted, but there was so many questions regarding this stuff. You may want to read through this. This has some 2012 dates. So you may want to read, you may want to add highlighting I did not add, because you'll definitely want to know about grandfathering. On page 9, I didn't have this, but it's just going over this 2,500 square feet. All over again. I'm hitting it because I know I got questions on it. Page 11 of Module 4. I tabbed this. This is your SWPI requirements. Definitely there was a number of questions regarding SWPI requirements, regarding pollution prevention requirements, and things like that. But right here is what I highlighted on that page. So the next item, moving along, I didn't have it highlighted, and it's not in the attachment, but your pollution prevention plan. That is on page 15 of Module 4. You'll want to know some of that. There's definitely quite a few questions regarding not just SWPI, but your pollution prevention plan. And then the next thing they have in this attachment goes all the way out. It says on page 19, for me, I didn't have it on page 19, it was page 20 and 21, which is your design criteria requirements. Try to get this where you all can see both pages. I don't remember there being questions necessarily, but something you will want to prepare for, because you may have the question. Just because it wasn't on there, all the different tests are different. So just because it wasn't on mine doesn't mean it won't be on yours. So then on page 23 is channel protection. That's what I had highlighted. That wasn't in the attachment that Allison provided, but that's additional stuff that I had highlighted. Let's see, on page 25 for flood protection, I had other stuff highlighted here for flood protection. The next thing that they have is your criteria for off-site nutrient credit options. There was a test question for me regarding this. So I don't remember what the test question was, I just remember it was there. That's what I had highlighted. So that's off-site options. You'll definitely want to know about off-site options. And then on page 28, very next page. And then for me, I think I skipped through quite a bit. There wasn't anything in the attachment either until you get to your stormwater management review timeline. For me, that's on page 41. I didn't have anything highlighted, but that's what my page 41 looks like. So this is stuff you do want to know, these different timelines. I seem to remember a question regarding timelines. There's also a nice little chart on page 43. I remember looking at this and looking it up during my test. Long-term maintenance, for me on page 44, I tabbed this as well, but that's what I highlighted. Most of my maintenance questions, and we'll go over it more, actually came, I ended up looking them up in the actual BMP specifications. So then on page 46, again, here's some of your civil and criminal judicial enforcement procedures. So penalties and stuff. Here's more stuff that I highlighted in my preparation. Stuff you may want to know. Then I skipped through, not all of this is in the attachment, but I'm just showing you what's in my book. For reports and record keeping, this is on page 51. That's what I highlighted. And then page 52, just a continuation of that. How long you want to keep certain reports. There was definitely questions on that. How long do you maintain reports? Who maintains them? The owner? The VSMP authority? You want to know. Page 54, and 55, I had stuff highlighted. This is the admin requirements. This was in the attachment. I'm just rolling through here, making sure I didn't highlight anything else that I felt was important. So, going on to Module 5. There is, on page 2, is a flow chart. This flow chart is in several different places, the exact same flow chart. But this is something you'll want to look through and kind of get an understanding of the process. I tabbed that right there. It's a VSMP flow chart so that I could find it easy. That's on page 2. I think, let me look through, yep, that is all I had from Module 5. On Module 6, page 2, I did some highlighting. At the very top of the page, I had that circled. Something they told me in class, environmental site design. I might need to know that. Oh, and page 3 of Module 6, I also did some highlighting. On environmental site design. And then I tabbed what was I tabbing here? So the different techniques and practices. I put a tab for this table here. I do not remember any questions coming from that, but yours may have questions. I placed a tab there. And then I believe that did it for me. The rest of this Module 6 just starts in talking about the different design specifications. I skipped over all of that. I didn't do any tabbing. It basically gives you a different idea on each one of these design specifications. I did not need to do that because it went over it in much greater detail in the inspector course. And that is all I did for my basic course binder. That's all the tabs I got. If you followed exactly what I did, which do your own thing, but if you followed exactly what I did, you'd end up with all the same tabs.